Welcome to section 3.7, functions and graphs. Go ahead and press pause, and then when you're ready, press play and we'll continue discussing functions and graphs. So linear equation is an equation that when graphed on a coordinate plane creates a straight line. So today we're going to be graphing linear equations, and you're going to know if you did it correctly because after you graph it, it should create a straight line. Okay, no wigglies in there. Linear equations are graphed just like our input-output values that we talked about before. So our input is our x values, these are our input. Our output is the y values. Okay, so for example, if our function was y equals 3x minus 1, okay, I would set it up as x is my input. My function rule would come next, and your function rule is the actual expression of the equation, and then would come y. The last thing in your list is going to be your set, your ordered pair, because we're graphing, we have to combine the x and the y to graph our straight line. So you're going to pick your own values. You can pick whatever numbers you want. I always start with 0, 1, and 2. You can pick negative numbers, positive numbers. Remember, you are going to have to graph them, so please pick numbers that are going to fit on a graph. So if you pick 0 as your x, you plug in 0 for x here. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So negative 1 is my y. Whatever you get in your function rule, your output value is your y value. So my ordered pair is 0, negative 1, x, y. For the next one, I have an x value of 1. So I take 3 times 1, which is 3, minus 1, which is 2. That's my y value, my output. 1, 2 is my next ordered pair. And for the last one, I have 2 as my x value. So I take 3 times 2, which is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. So I have 2, 5 as my ordered pair. Okay? Then to graph these, you're going to have to create your own graph. And I'm going to show you how to create that graph because you obviously do not have any graph paper right now. If you have graph paper, you can use that. So I'm just going to make tick marks to represent my values here. And I know these are my x and this is my y. Okay, and my ordered pairs were 0, negative 1. So I start at the origin, go over 0, down, negative 1. And then I have 1, 2. Go over 1, up 2, 1, 2. And finally 2, 5. So go over 2, up 5. Then like I said before, when you plot or when you connect your dots, they should create, should create a straight line. Okay, mine doesn't look perfectly straight, but that's mainly because I didn't use graph paper. Okay, so we're going to concentrate on creating our tables. So the first one we're going to do is y equals negative x plus 2. Okay, I need 4 columns. X, my function, negative x plus 2, y, and my ordered pair, x comma y. Okay, I'm going to pick 3 values. So I'm going to continue with 0, 1, and 2. Okay, I'm going to plug in my function. Now it's a negative x, so I do negative 0 plus 2. Well, negative 0 is just 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, and that's my y value. So my first ordered pair is 0, 2. Okay, then I have a 1. When I plug it in, it becomes a negative 1 plus 2. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. There we go. Then I have another x, y, 1, 1. Then my 2, I plug it in, it becomes a negative 2 plus 2, which equals 0. So my last ordered pair is 2, 0. Now I just want to show you what happens when I pick a negative number. If I pick a negative 1, for example, it's going to be negative, negative 1. plus 2. Negative times a negative is a positive, so this really becomes a positive 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So my last ordered pair would be negative 1, 3. So once again, you're going to create your little graph. Okay, here's my origin. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one doesn't have to be very big because of the numbers I picked. So once again, pick numbers that are smaller. So 0, 2, I go over 0, then up 2. For 1, I go over 1, up 1. For 2, I go over 2, up 0. And the last one, I'm going to go over negative 1, up 3. 1, 2, and 3. And once again, you're going to see that these dots, when I connect them, that wasn't a very good line here. They're going to create a straight line. Okay, we put arrows on the end to show that there's a continuation of that line. All right, same thing here. Now we're just adding in extra operations, no big deal. So I'm going to create my 4 columns. My goodness. It's working with me right now. There we go. Well, that function's not working for me. Okay, so I have x, my function rule, my y, and now my ordered pair x, y. So I'm going to use 0, 2, 1. I'm going to throw in a negative value just so we can see what happens with it. So I have negative 3 times 0 plus 2. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, so that's my y. My first ordered pair is 0, 2. For the 2, I have a negative 3 times 2 plus 2. Negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6. Negative 6 plus 2 is a negative 4. So I have 2, negative 4. Then I have negative 3 times 1 plus 2. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, plus 2 is negative 1. So I have 1, negative 1. And then my last one, negative 3 times a negative 1 plus 2. Negative 3 times a negative 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. So I have negative 1, 5. So here's my ordered pairs, and once again, we're going to graph them. Okay, I'm going to make tick marks of 5 out. That's my largest number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So for 0, 2, I start at the origin. I don't go anywhere. Up 2. That blue here. For my next one, I go over 2, 1, 2, and then down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I go over 1, down 1. And then over a negative 1 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, as I connect my dots, you can actually visually see it's going to be a straight line. Once again, it doesn't look perfect because I'm not doing this on graph paper. Okay, put your arrows on either end, and there you go. All right. Graph the function represented by each table. So now I'm just graphing. Okay, since my numbers are going up so high, I'm going to count by 4s, for example. So this is my x value, and this would be my y. So I'm going to keep my x's normal. So I'm going to go over 1. Oops. 1. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, my pen's getting mad at me. And I'm going to put this as this is a 1 so that we can see that there is, and I can put those two if I want, just so I know what that scale is. Now the y's, I'm going to create a different scale because the numbers are so big. So I'm going to go up by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. Okay, so let's plot these. I have a 1, I'm going to go over 1, up 8. Go over 2, up 16. Go over 3, up 24. And go over 4, up 32. And once again, you're going to see it's a linear. It would look more perfect, as always, if I had a graph paper, but I can tell that this is going to be creating, or would create, a straight line. Okay, so if you need to on these types of word problems, you can change the scale. Make sure you show me what your scale is and that you're going by equal intervals. So here I counted 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here I counted by 4s, so just include that. Last part, represent each function in a graph. A car averages 36 miles per hour of gasoline. The function m equals 36g represents the miles m driven using g gallons. This is my equation. Okay, so that includes my function rule as well. Let's cooperate with me a little bit better this time. Okay, so instead of x and y, I have g and m, but this g is part of my input. I'm inputting that in and getting the output of m. My function is 36 times g, so it's going to be gm now as my ordered pair. So I'm just going to do 0, 1, and 2. So 36 times 0 is 0. My ordered pair is 0, 0. It's an easy one. 36 times 1 is 36. Once again, 0, 36. Okay, and then my 2, 36. Whoops, didn't mean to include that part there. Times 2 would be 72. So I have 272, and actually I see that I put a 0 here. It should be a 1. Okay, and then I'm going to graph. Now, like before, and this time I have all positive numbers, so I'm going to make sure that it's just a little bit bigger on my graph here because I know I'm not going to have to graph anything on the negative side. For my x, I can go over normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put that these are going over just by an interval of 1. This I have to go all the way up to 72. So you can count by 10 if you want. You can go by 36s if you want as well. I'm going to go by 10s, just so my graph looks a little bit bigger. Now remember, when you're going by 10s, when you're plotting between, you need to try to be as accurate as possible, for the main reason that, once again, we're not using graph paper. This is going to make your line look better. Okay, so I'm going to go over 0, up 0. There's my first point. Over 1, up 36, so it's a little bit past halfway, between the 30 and the 40. Over 2, up 72, just a little bit past that 72. And connect your dots. Okay, and there's your line. All right. Well, as always, if you have any questions, make sure you ask Mr. Collier and I tomorrow. And we hope you have a great evening. Thanks for watching.